You've set up your database connection information, and it's time to connect to your database. So this time I'm going to connect as B. DiMattia. All right. And you should see a couple of things when you connect. First of all, over here on the left is a lot of information about the database in general. And because this is Ben's first time connecting to the database, the most interesting thing here is tables. And when I clicked on tables, you can see there aren't actually any tables for Ben to use. So let's create one. We're going to create an employee table. And the way we're going to do that is with a create statement, a create table statement. So create table. And we're going to give the table a name, EMP. And the table is going to have a bunch of attributes associated with it. So the first attribute is EMP_NO, and we're going to make that a number. And we're going to force that to be a number with 4 digits. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're also going to say for this employee number that it's not null. All right. So the next attribute that we're going to have is another attribute, which is the employee name. And that's a character. And we're going to make that a varchar, actually. So varchar 210. So the interesting thing about varchar 2s, as I mentioned before in class, that is basically Oracle's way of saying a string. It's a variable character string that can be up to 10 characters long. All right. The next thing we have is a job. And the job is also going to be a varchar 2. 10 as well. And then we have a manager. And the manager is going to have a number 4. And that number 4 is going to be just like the number 4 for the employee number. I'm going to see if it'll let me get this down on the next line. There we go. It's being a little annoying just a moment ago. All right. So the manager is the employee number of the manager. Okay. All right, let's continue. So we need a hire date, and that's going to be of type date. And we need a salary, and this is going to be a number as well, but we're going to make it a 5-digit number with 2 of the digits on the right-hand side. Well, let's make it a 7-digit number with 2 of the digits on the right-hand side. Okay. There's also a commission, and that's also a number, 7-digit number with 2 digits on the right-hand side. And finally, a department number. And that is going to be a number, we'll do a number 4 with that one as well. Okay, so now we have a basic table that we're creating, and we're demonstrating a couple of different data types. So we've got a number data type, which you can control how many digits you have in the number and whether there are any digits to the right of the decimal point. We have varchar 2, which represents a string. We've got date, which is very interesting. That includes date and time information. And if I create another just bogus attribute here, but I go to choose the type, you can see that Oracle has a whole bunch of types that you can mess around with. Wow, there's so many of them here. It's kind of overwhelming. So the ones that I think are the most useful are probably the varchar2, which is Oracle's version of a string, the date, because you need dates for stuff, the blob, which stands for binary large object, so that allows you to store something like an image or a movie, and the clob, which is a character large object, and that would let you store something like a large text document or a book or something like that. Okay, so that's good enough for now. So we're going to create this table. I'm going to get rid of that bogus. And I'm going to say, put a semicolon at the end of the statement, and I'm going to say, execute this line. All right, it said create table processed, and now if you look over here, we have an employee table. And if I click on it, I get information about all the columns that are in the employee table. All right, awesome. There's a few other interesting fields, which we'll talk about later. All right, now that I've created my table, I think I'd like to insert some stuff into it. So I'm going to create an insert statement. So a real simple insert statement starts like this: insert into, and you give a table name, EMP. And then what you can do is you can provide a series of column names and then values corresponding to those column names. Or if you're going to give all of the values in the tuple, then you can just say values. All right, so we're going to put in values. So we're going to put in an employee. So the first employee we're going to put in has an employee number of 7369 and has an employee name of Smith and has a job of clerk and has a manager number of 7902. So that's going to match some other employee's employee number. Has a hire date of, now you got to be really careful about the format of these dates. So there's a nice default one for Oracle, which is day. So we could say 17 December 90. And then we're going to specify a salary of $800. We'll say maybe that's the weekly salary. A commission of null. And a department number of 20. All right, so let's see if I got everything right here. One way we can try that is click execute, current statement, boop. And it says one row is inserted. Awesome. And let's see if we can get a little bit of information here. Oh, here we go. I don't want to see that. I want to see stuff for Ben. Okay, it looks like I inserted into employee values, no problem. Life is good. I'm going to see if I can make this a little bigger so we can watch what's going on as we do different activities here. All right, so I just inserted that statement. I'm just going to copy that and paste it. Sorry, let's try that again. Copy and then paste. And I'm going to change the values here. So I'm going to make this 7499. Not Smith anymore, we're Allen. Not a clerk anymore, we're a salesman. Different manager number, 79968. Different hire date, we'll say 17 February 90. Bigger salary, 1600. And salesman get a commission, we'll say of 300. And a different department, department number 30. Okay, so we'll insert the next line. All right, so you can see here, I'll pull this down a little bit too. I just did a second insert successfully. Okay, let's do one more. All right, 7521. And Ward is my employee name. Another clerk. Same boss as Allen, 7968. Different hire date. We'll make it March of 90. and salary of $12.50, no commission, and same department as Alan as well. Okay. All right. So now we have three elements, or three tuples in the table. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a select. So a real simple select would be select star from employees. All right. If I execute that statement, what I'm going to see is a nice table that appears here that shows me all of the information about each of the employees that were returned. And it's just the data that I entered into the system already. You can see the date here is a little more particular. It's a date time, not just a regular date. And there's some null fields. These commissions, which are null, are interesting. They're fun to deal with in code, and I talked about that a little bit in class. All right, so we've got these three employees, but really it's going to be kind of tedious to type in all this data. Normally you get the data from some source, the output from some program or something like that. So it just so happens that we have the data for this information, all the information here, actually a lot more than just employees. We have a lot of data that we can use to do some really interesting basic queries. So let's get started with that.